Now, I think it's pretty much safe to say that Marvel Studios is in quite a situation similar to Lucasfilm, where you have many different failures, one after the other, that falls into this ongoing vicious cycle, much like what Kathleen Kennedy is doing with Lucasfilm's Star Wars, as well as what Kevin Feige is doing with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It doesn't matter if it's movies or television shows, it all comes full circle, and it's really not working out at all when it comes to Disney's overall push for their DEI narrative spilling into all these different brands. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. So I think that there's no doubt about it at this point in time that Disney is truly walking on eggshells when it comes to Deadpool 3. They're really banking on this movie to at least make a decent profit at the box office, to at least make this movie into a success, so that they can be, of course, the ones in 2025 pointing the finger back to 2024 and saying, look at what we did here with this film. Now, so far, based on what Bob Iger is pushing for the third act of this movie through planned reshoots that are now set to begin by April, that will actually last until May before the film drops in July, to really kind of reframe the third act to use DEI narratives. But this is where things get really intense when it comes to drama between director Shawn Levy, Ryan Reynolds, Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick, the writers of the film, and even Hugh Jackman, the actor of the Wolverine character. So let's get into all of this, shall we? Because this all revolves around Disney's push for the concept of gender swapping in Deadpool 3. Now, specifically with Ryan Reynolds actively involved with Deadpool 3 and the ongoing battle against Disney's plan for reshoots to, of course, being now in late April, that will last until May, just 2 months before the release of the film in July. One major development involves actor Ryan Reynolds teaming up with director Shawn Levy, in which they recently held a victory against Bob Iger's push for DEI into the third act of Deadpool 3, where both Bob Iger and Kevin Feige of Marvel Studios were in fact pushing the concept of a gender-swapped version of Wolverine that would be introduced into the third act of the film by use of the multiverse. Essentially, the scene that was already created by Kevin Feige and pressed upon the writers like Paul Wernick and Rhett Reese involves a literal female version of Wolverine that would engage in a fight with Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. Not only was this planned to be a gender-swapped version of Wolverine, not to be confused with X-23 or any kind of similar character to Wolverine, but was also going to hold a strong DEI agenda with forced cringe dialogue that was handpicked and improvised by Kevin Feige and forced upon both Rhett and Paul to put into the script. The scene was written and it was also loosely rehearsed. However, a serious turn of events recently occurred where Ryan Reynolds was the one responsible for gathering everyone to essentially stand their ground against Disney to prevent this scene from ever getting filmed during the planned and upcoming reshoots. Ryan Reynolds, Shawn Levy, and Hugh Jackman, just for starters, for example, all refused to take part in the forced reshoots by Disney and Marvel Studios revolving around the gender-swapped Wolverine, and it's creating a serious shakeup behind the scenes at the Walt Disney Company, so much to the point that Bob Iger recently and abruptly backed off and canceled the concept of the gender-swapped version of Wolverine from another universe that was going to win in a fight against Hugh Jackman's classic Wolverine in the yellow suit. Now, Reynolds reportedly knew this was taking things too far and that it would certainly drive fans away from the film. The battle for the third act of this movie continues as Disney is actively finding ways to insert DEI in ridiculous concepts for the third act that are immediately supported by Marvel Studios boss Kevin Feige. This is already creating serious drama between Hugh Jackman and the Disney heads, and Bob Iger is already considering not including Hugh Jackman as Wolverine in other projects planned for the Disney Plus Marvel projects that were planned to use Wolverine as a cameo to set up Marvel's Phase 7. Now, the gender-swapped version of Wolverine was, yes, cancelled from the reshoots planned for Deadpool 3, however, Bob Iger is still doubling down with Kevin Feige on using the gender-swapped Wolverine in X-Men 97 Season 2 by use of the multiverse. Now, guys, let me say one thing about this quick before I move on. We already know that Disney has an agenda by taking advantage of the multiverse and using that concept to either race or gender swap classic characters that fans grew up with. And look, one could argue if it's from a different universe, who cares, right? Some people are gonna say that. But you gotta look at the true nature of what's really going on here. Disney is literally using the concept of the multiverse and taking advantage of it just to push their agenda. Alright, they're basically just doubling down on the multiverse for that very given reason. And that's more than enough to realize how ridiculous Disney has become in 2024 and what they plan to do in 2025 with continued use of the multiverse in various projects. And it's not going to stop next year, it's going to stretch all the way into 2027. So moving onwards here, what's interesting about this further is that on top of that, once again, alright, this is not to be confused with X-23. Disney is planning to create their own version of Wolverine in female form of the series for X-Men 97 that they wanted to tease in Deadpool 3 to set things up for that show. As of now, Bob Iger is heading into damage control behind the scenes for the reshoots surrounding Deadpool 3 and everything that comes with it. Kevin Feige is also preparing more improved dialogue, or improvised dialogue, I should say, to be used for the third act to promote DEI with, of course, Ryan, Paul, and Rhett's Deadpool movie. Now guys, this is not to put any kind of blame on Paul and Rhett. They are being forced to do some of this stuff by Kevin Feige, by Bob Iger. And that's exactly why there's a pushback by the creators that are being organized by Ryan Reynolds. So, look, this is one big victory for the third act of Deadpool 3 getting saved. Deadpool and Wolverine, the trailer that debuted during the Super Bowl, I think was at least decent. We knew that there was a lot of drama happening with the trailer cut, weeks before that actually dropped on live television. You know, at first, Disney had their version of the trailer that really had a lot of things in there that were going to divide fans. And then Ryan, Shawn, and everyone else gathered up and really reasoned with Disney to kind of reframe the trailer, to kind of boost the marketing style of Deadpool and Wolverine. So there's that. Now, here's the other thing about this, is that with Deadpool 3 being the only Marvel movie coming out this year on the big screen, this is serious. They have to get this movie right. It has to at least be a decent movie. If it can't be a decent film, Disney is done for good when it comes to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I don't see a return happening or any kind of remedy in the years to come if they fail with Deadpool 3. And so far, everything that they're trying to push in the third act, there's been some wins and losses for Ryan Reynolds, but it's not looking good so far for the third act. You know, the first two went quite smooth. The third act is where Disney's trying to infiltrate that and really change things up quite a bit. So overall, I would really love to hear what everyone has to say about the whole Ryan Reynolds drama happening behind the scenes with Deadpool and Wolverine and everything related to the Wolverine character. Both, of course, you know, getting through all this drama for Deadpool 3 and how Bob Iger's still doubling down on X-Men 97 Season 2. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.